Good afternoon. It is Sunday, August the 14th, 2022, and Sarah and I have just arrived in the upper cirque of the Eldorado Creek Basin. We've already done some pretty interesting trekking and hiking thus far to get to this spot. But now all of that is behind us and we're still feeling really strong, and the big objective of this trip is the summit of Eldorado Peak, and we're not too far from it right now. All we got left really is to head up from this position here. We're roughly around 5,500 feet right here. We're going to head up another 500 feet, cross over to the next drainage, and then we should be looking for a spot to access the Eldorado Glacier, which sits above the Roush Creek drainage. From there, we're going to make our way across the glacier to some bivvy sites. We should be situated along the east ridge, at the very base of the east ridge of Eldorado Peak itself. We were really nervous coming into this trip, just because we know what is in store for hikers and trekkers in the North Cascades. We didn't really know how much of a raw bushwhack it was going to be to this spot. So we did really good reconnaissance in our literature, asked a lot of questions at the ranger station, and luckily there's a very evident, well-worn path along this approach climbing route. It made it really easy, and we've been able to just conserve a lot of energy getting this far. Feeling really good, looking forward to getting up over the top and seeing some new sights. Never been to this part of the Cascades before. Here we go. Oh man, it feels good to be back in the high country of North Cascades National Park. We're hiking through like these slabs of granite, big boulders. We're aiming for that gap in the rock crest is where our goal is supposed to be to switch over to the other drainage. We have reached the roughly 6,000 foot gap between the two drainages. We have found the correct gully, and Sarah has already started her descent down 150 some odd foot, supposedly third class. And we're about to get a grand change in the scenery as we drop over to this side over here. We have exited the gully onto these beautiful granite slabs. We're making our way down into this next cirque drainage. Look all the way down the valley there. But check this out. Come up this way through these moraines and glacially polished slabs. And there's the Eldorado glacier. You can see the summit right there. And we are going to make our way up in this direction to access the glacier, get roped up, and get up there. We have pretty much reached continuous rock and snow from this point on. We have traded our approach running shoes for climbing boots and gaiters. And further up here, when we get up to the snout of the glacier, a couple hundred meters up there, we will rope up for glacier travel. We are roped up and climbing along the eastern margin of the Eldorado glacier. It's pretty fantastic. Awesome fun climbing. We are crossing the last flat section of the glacier. You can see the summit up there. There's quite a bit of small crevasses in here. And our camp should be dead ahead in those rocks. We'll be able to make a bivy site. After many hours of hiking and trekking, we have arrived at our high camp. And quite a high camp it is. It's pretty fantastic up here. We got some good company with us. Sharing camp.
Hi.
And look at this awesomeness over here. I don't even know what to say. We're going to take more of a closer look at that in just a second. Wow. Alright, this is the company we're sharing our high camp with today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and say what they're doing here.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm from the Boston area, and I know Charlene from college. And I was section hiking the PCT, and I had a few extra days in Seattle, so Charlene and I planned a little backpacking trip, and we wanted to do something a little more technical, and so this seemed like a good route to do.
Yeah, like you said, Charlene, we originally thought we would go to Boston Basin, but permits are hard to get, so we're here at Eldorado instead. Gonna enjoy some good views from camp.
It's beautiful here. It's gorgeous, and yeah, I haven't seen these views before, so it's pretty awesome.
Our first day up here on the Inspiration Glacier is winding down. Fantastic day. I haven't even begun to take all of this in yet where I'm at. Like, there's so many different views to look at in this area. Oh my lord, it's fantastic. This is the last of our 3 big trips we had planned up here in the North Cascades before I head home for a couple days. And I don't know, I just feel like this is going to be a good way to end it with just these grand, never-ending mountain views up here. It was not that hard to get here, technically. It was pretty strenuous. We did climb around 5,500 feet from the trailhead to this spot in not that many miles. I think we started at about 2,300, and right now we're about 7,300, give or take a few hundred feet. It wasn't super steep. The hardest part about getting up here is finding the trail from the trailhead. You got to cross the Cascade River, you walk down from the trailhead, cross the river, and then walk back up on the other side until you run into the climber's path. It pretty much comes all the way up to the snout of the glacier. There's a lot of weaving in and out of big boulder fields, and you do got to watch out in those areas and be sure that you find the actual path, and it makes it a lot easier. If not, you're going to have some serious brush whacking to do to get up here. Once we crossed through the gully and we switched over to this drainage, just really mellow hiking. Just beautiful flat slabs of granite. We got up on the glacier. This was one of the flattest glaciers I've ever crossed. And then here we are at this pretty fantastic camping spot. We should have some pretty good views of the stars tonight. Hopefully the moon is bright. And we're in no rush to make it to the summit. Most of the climb is already done. We probably have about 1,000 feet, maybe a little more to go to the very top. So we are probably going to plan on an evening sunset summit tomorrow and just relax. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to make my way down to the tent pad and make some hot food, some hot drinks, talk, conversate, and enjoy these mountains while we're here. morning. Today's gonna be a very relaxing day, just lounging around our high camp, and then we're gonna head for the summit tonight. Hopefully we'll have the whole thing to ourselves. Hey Sarah, it's our last full day in the North Cascades before we go home. We're gonna make our way to the top of Eldorado in a few hours. What are your final thoughts and perceptions?
I think we picked a really good last outing for this trip up into the North Cascades. This is super gorgeous, and I'm just trying to soak it all in before we gotta go home.
All right, we're just finishing up with our rope and getting ready to go here. It's going on about 5 p.m. and we are ready to finish what we came here to do. And that was summit Eldorado Peak. Most of the climb was taken care of yesterday. Over 5,000 feet of elevation gain. Right now we only have a little over 1,000 to go. Some snow, some glacier travel, some rock scrambling, and a pretty interesting snow feature at the very top. I've been waiting to climb this peak for quite some time. I'm a little anxious and a little nervous for lots of different reasons. Here we go. Look at these massive bergschrunds we're working around right now. Unreal. We had to transition from the glacier onto the rock, and now we are transitioning back onto the glacier again. And we are approaching the crux of this climb. There's the knife edge snow ridge. And the summit should be right up there.
Maybe I'll rethink that going down, but
This is a very interesting part of this climb right here. We're kind of on this knife edge snow arete, and the summit is over the top of it. There's Sarah right there. And I'm gonna follow up and join her here in just a second. Look at this awesomeness that we're on right here. It goes down that way. And it's a little bit more mellower on this side. But the summit is just a little bit up there in front of us. Well, here we are, we made it. The summit of Eldorado, 8,868 feet above sea level. This is fantastic. It's absolutely incredible up here. This is by far one of my favorite summits in the North Cascades. We've been up here in this park or in this region for about 3 weeks. We tried climbing Dome, we tried climbing Challenger. Those didn't work out. I'm glad that we got to end it with this right here. So there's the knife edge snow ridge that we used to access the summit. And here's a 360-degree view of this awesomeness. Have you ever seen so many mountains just stacked in every direction? I don't even know if this camera is doing it justice. We're looking north now towards the pickets are off there in that direction, Mount Baker, Mount Shuckson. Now we're looking off towards the west. There's sunlight kind of obstructing the view. That would be down towards the Skagit River Valley. And now we're starting to get views off towards the Triad, which is the other approach for this summit. Mount Snow King is out there. Glacier Peak's starting to come into view. Rainier is way off there in the distance. You can see the South Cascade River Valley. It's right here where me and Sarah had that horrible bushwhack coming off of the Ptarmigan Traverse, which we're looking at the peaks right now of the Traverse. Down below us there is the Eldorado Glacier. Sahalee, Boston Peak, Mount Torment, Forbidden Peak is all coming into view. Mount Logan's over there. And we're right back where we kind of started at right now. Absolutely incredible. All right, summits always go by really quickly. We got to get down before it gets too late. And pretty much the trip, we just got to retrace our steps from here on out. We have descended safely and we are back at our 7,600 high camp. This trip is quickly winding down now. The sun is set, the moon is about to rise, and it's our last evening here in North Cascades National Park. The couple of girls that we shared our camp with, they went up and summited first thing in the morning, and they had the whole peak to themselves. It was pretty awesome. Me and Sarah lounged around camp all day, relaxed, slept, and then we went up and had the whole thing to ourselves pretty much for sunset. There's no greater feeling knowing that you're alone out here and you got the whole place to yourself. It was absolutely fantastic. I had so much fun on this climb. It was an amazing journey on our quest in search of the summit of gold. Well, it was the most beautiful sunrise that woke me up this morning. Blazing ball of flame in the east with those low clouds is beautiful. Good way to start the day. Camp is all packed up. We're all roped up. We're going to cross the Eldorado glacier, climb down to the car. This trip is in the bag. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. Till next time, goodbye everybody.